You're watching LeaderCast. I'm Anthony Kovic. Today's special guest is Joanna Cassidy. She's an actress and a Golden Globe winner with over 125 roles that she's participated in both TV and movies. Thank you for being on the show, Joanna.
It's my pleasure.
You know, it's very exciting. You've been on many of the shows that I have watched over the years. And, you know, whether it's Dallas, whether it's Falcon Crest, and many others, even, you know, one of my favorite shows, which is Star Trek. You also played a role in one of those, in Star Trek. Hopefully you remember the scene, but I was just I went back and seen some of the episodes just to give it an update with, I have over, 10 pages just of your credits of the things you've done. It's just amazing that you've acted in all these roles over these years. Before we get started into the concept, how did you get into the ability to be an actress of this caliber with so many different roles that you play?
Well, it's not a short story, but I think that in those days when I came in, it was a lot easier than it is now. It was because there were more opportunities. You know, there were less people, more big movies being made, not so much TV because there were only 3 stations at the time. And no, I just happened to come in on the wings of my energy. I came here from San Francisco initially. That's not where I'm from, but that's where I drove here from.
Did you go through education as far as acting and that stuff, or is it, how did that ended up becoming?
No, I did not.
Oh, wow.
I did not. I was an art student at Syracuse University, and then got married very young. Brought my 2 children here. I drove here, and I only knew one person in this town.
Now, was that person someone in the business, or just you only knew one person?
She was in the business of life. No, it had nothing to do with the business. Actually, she helped me get into a modeling agency, which I did for a while, and which was fun. I mean, it was fun, but it doesn't last forever. You have to move on from there.
Now, you mentioned modeling. Is that how you got onto the Mission Impossible show? Because your credits say that you were a model on that. You were acting as a model in the show. No, one thing had nothing to do with the other. I wish I remembered. They were shooting in San Francisco, and I have no idea how I got that part. I don't remember, honestly. Yeah, I mean, did you spend much time on the episode? Because there was only one episode in your role. I believe it was a model on the episodes. Did you spend much time on it, or is it just you came in and you did your part and then that's it?
I'll tell you something. I'm in the process now of getting all the DVDs or VHSs of everything I've done, and I'm doing pretty well. So when I write my book, I'll be able to tell you the answer to that.
Oh, we'll have to do a sequel to this then. Like I said, you definitely have played roles in many of the programs that I enjoy watching over the years, and we're gonna touch on some of these roles and learn a little bit about how those roles ended up being, and as you moved on from one role to the next. Is there a process that you've taken into play that gets you these kind of roles?
No, it's
just your agent calls you up and says, "Hey, we have a role for you, and let's go do a shooting or screening."
No, early on, I auditioned for things early on, and I met casting people that were very influential at the time that helped me move my career along. But I didn't even know if I wanted to be in the show business. It was a toss-up. I just knew that I had 2 children to take care of, and so I had to do something that kept the roof over our heads. So, and I think that I really do believe that life is about energy, and and if you have that going on, that you kind of make things happen.
Well, that is pretty much. Now, is acting part of something that you've enjoyed getting into, or is it just completely as things happen, you develop the access to the acting personality that, over the years. So how did that actually end up happening where you have so many roles? I mean, most actors and actresses, they'll play a bit role here or a single role there, but you have so many roles in prime time as well as, name brand episodes and shows that are pretty substantial.
Well, one thing does beget the next. And I worked with people who were very big. I mean, right off the bat, early on, I was working with Robert Duvall and Joe Don Baker and Robert Ryan, George C. Scott. I mean, when you're working with the bigs, it has its own momentum. People don't forget that. It's like I worked with Gene Hackman once, and he insisted that I work with him again. And it was unfortunate that it was at the end of towards the end of his career, because I think I probably would have ended up doing a lot of movies with him. We really hit it off great.
So you were able to build rapport in the business, and the roles just kept coming. The connection led to the next one. This movie led to that TV series. This episode led to the next episode. Is that for the, basically how some of this how it works?
No, I have to understand too that I was up for things that didn't work out. For example, I was up. It was between myself and Linda Carter for Wonder Woman.
Oh, Wonder Woman, yes.
So, and she got the role. That's okay. I mean, that happens. You're right. It's either meant to be or not. I mean, I think a lot of business and not just only my business, but in life, it's destiny, in some sense as well. But, I've had a very circuitous route. The one thing that I will say about my life is that I've continued to act. A lot of women, a lot of females stop after a certain point. They buy the press, and the press says, well, actresses are finished after 40, they're done, nobody wants to have them in the movie anymore. And in many cases, it's true, because you see, actors have a big body of work. The next thing you know, they're not in it so much, and the new crop is coming in. It's a new crop.
That is technically true, but some of the best actors are still doing blockbuster movies because they keep it up. Like you said, they still make themselves available, and they're playing different roles. They're obviously not the action hero they were when they were in their 20s. Now they're the action hero that is the mastermind, the villain, the big villain, or something like that.
That's right.
Or playing a role of the person that doesn't need to do the physical work, but that's the person that's in charge of something, or has to play the role of managing, whatever that episode is about. So yes, there's so many great roles that take place that actors, as they get, seasoned into bigger, more complex roles, they have the ability to actually do those roles with style rather than, adding it to a younger person.
Experience and wisdom about the business, helps an actor along the way. It's very it's also a confidence builder. You can come onto a set and people respect you, they respect your work, and so you're not just one of the, nimble ones running around trying to get the next thing. You're there. You're already there.
Now, to get into some of the roles that you've played, one of my favorite shows growing up was the Dallas TV show, and you played Sally Bullock on that show for 2 episodes. I think it was 2 episodes. So tell me about how did you ended up on the set of Dallas working with, Larry Hagman?
I have no idea. I, I have no idea how I got that far. But yes, I think it was more than that. I think it was more than that because I had to be around the early 80s, and I know they took me to South Africa to do a whole big thing over there because it had to be more than that.
Yeah, you're right. I think I'm going by your Wikipedia page and the credits for various things, but I do remember that series, that segment where you played the wife of the tycoon, oil baron, that owns all of the oil tankers, and then Bobby Ewing actually at the end had to, blackmail you into giving up JR's lies and finding out where you hid his tanker. So, did you actually go to the set of Dallas and in Dallas itself, or was that done on location?
Everything that I've shot was here.
So it was that episode was shot there.
Yeah.
And so you didn't actually go to the actual on location shooting.
No.
Well, that's pretty interesting. So, what did you think about did you get a chance? I believe there were episodes where you and JR, the actor Larry Hagman, actually had scenes. What was that like working with, let's say, a Larry Hagman?
Well, Larry.
Is he a character, or is it just like, you did the role and you were done and moved on, or is it that you?
I'm never like that. I have had so much fun in my career. I mean, every time I do something of I think I can tell a tale now. I mean, Larry's gone. He was drinking a lot of champagne at the time.
Yes, that's why he had to have his liver transplant, but yes.
And I loved, what's his name? What's the other actor's name?
Yeah, Bobby Ewing, which is, I can't remember his real name, Patrick Duffy.
Yes, he was adorable. He was wonderful. What a sweetheart. And very serious, very, everybody has their sides, but I if I had to pick between the two, I would say Patrick Duffy was kind of like my fave on the show. And Larry, he's very good. He's a very powerful actor, but he and I met his wife. She came on the set a lot, and so.
Now you've also been, let's say, on the movie Blade Runner. Tell us a little bit about the Blade Runner movie. How did that end up to be? I mean, you had to actually do some snake scenes with some kind of python or whatever. Was that a real snake, or is it a fake snake that made to look real?
That was my snake.
Oh, that was actually your snake.
It was a Burmese python.
So do you still have it, or is it just,
No. His name was Darling, and he was actually really good. He's about 6 years old, and he was wonderful on the set. There was a snake handler there that I gave him to afterwards. He liked him so much. I said, well, I think it's time for me to pass on the snake. Because Darling had done a lot of things with me. We used to roller skate in Venice Beach, and I'd wear him around my neck. And wish I had taken pictures of that. It was so interesting. Anyway, yes. So I told the director, I said, I'm the only person in this town that can do this part because I have the snake. So there you go.
Yeah, because you looked very comfortable. It didn't look like you were like, oh my God, there's the snake around me. This is just, when is this role going to be over? I want to get the hell off this set.
So I have to tell you that we never got to shoot the dance that Zora did. And it was all storyboarded. It was ready to go. I had been in training for weeks, and we never did it because they ran out of money. It was the end of the show. There was going to be a director's strike. So I did my own dance and put it up on YouTube about 8 years ago.
Now,
So you can find it on YouTube.
yes, everything is on YouTube. It may not be the whole thing, but you'll find the snippets of everything. That's
No, but this is very important because it was a really rather critical moment. It's not just something, this was important to me. That film was, it still is one of the biggest films in the film business, and I never liked my death scene, so I reshot it 25 years later. And then I did the dance 8 years ago, which was actually a real feminist piece, because I don't know a lot of actors that would stick to something and insist. Well, I paid for it, so I mean, I did my own thing, but I had it, produced and directed, and got the photographer, rented the snakes, which I had to do, and shot a version of the dance. Obviously, it's not the one that Ridley Scott designed, but I still did it, and it was really important to me.
And now, is there like a specific episode or a scene or a movie that really propelled your career in, there's always that pivoting point where you're doing stuff, then there's that role where
Well, there
bunch of
was,
roles.
of course, there was, Blade Runner, but there was also Under Fire with Nick Nolte and Gene Hackman, which was a very serious movie, which didn't really, again, it didn't catch on until a couple of years later. And now it's, everyone knows the movie. But I also did a television show called 6 Feet Under that was Alan Ball's first big hit. And off that, I got a lot of work. But, I've been recognized, acknowledged. That was a Canadian piece. That led to a Canadian piece that was a Canadian HBO series called Call Me Fitz with Jason Priestley. And that was one of the funniest shows I've ever done in my life. I never had so much fun. And I won 2 Canadian Emmys for Best Comedian on that.
What was that show? Call Me what?
Call Me Fitz.
I see it every now and then popping up on my Netflix or my Hulu, and it never looked interesting. But now that I know that you're in it, I'm going to have to.
Oh my God, it was one of the funniest shows I have ever done in my life.
Oh, very good. So I'm gonna check that out right away and check and add more credits to what I know of your career. Now, in 1974, you were on Johnny Carson. How did you end up on Johnny Carson?
Oh, I can tell you, his wife saw me in a movie, and her name was Joanna Carson. And she was very cool. She was his third wife. She used to recommend actors for him to have on the show, I think. I know she recommended me. She said, you should have this woman on. She seems like a lot of fun. I know that was after the movie that I did with George C. Scott called Bank Shot. And that was out. And she saw it, and I wore this great plaid suit in the movie, and she said, you have to have her on, and she's got to wear that plaid suit. She just looked so great in it. So that's how I got on.
Oh, okay. So the trick is to know the spouse of the celebrity that's running some of these, like Johnny Carson's wife, or make a note. Contact spouse. I don't think
there's really a trick to it. Again, it's being in the right place at the right time. At the time, you have to understand, I came into the business right at the end of when Hollywood was Hollywood. It was when the stars were stars. They looked different than anybody else. They were gorgeous. The films were gorgeous. The stories were amazing. And I just segued in there, and I had a look that kind of fit in with that old style. So, very often Candice Bergen and I got compared to one another. Candice did really well. She was great. And I worked with her twice. I worked with her on Boston Legal, and I worked with her in Hollywood Wives.
You were on Boston Legal. I didn't notice that. Did you have a chance to hang out with is it Robert is it
Jenny Crane?
Yeah, Robert Shankner. Is it what's his name?
You mean the lawyer?
Yeah, the lawyer, the crazy one on the show that he was
was in Star Trek.
Yeah, the Star Trek guy. Did you
I played his wife.
Oh, you played his wife. Yeah, so you kept him sane while he was insane.
No, he was pretty insane.
Robert Shatner, that's what it is. And how many episodes?
William Shatner.
Oh, William, yeah, Robert William, yeah. So William Shatner. So how many episodes did you play on the Boston Legal as his wife? That must have been quite a few, because
like 6 or 7.
No, that's pretty good. And yeah, I don't remember you in the role, but I'm gonna have to go back and check it out because I think it's still playing on the network. So now, after Johnny Carson, we know that they say when you attend or you're a guest on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson that almost everybody's career just explodes. Did that happen for you being on the Carson show?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that's like a lot of people win an Academy Award and then they disappear.
No, I'm just wondering if there was any correlation between being on the Johnny Carson and maybe
it didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt. Yeah, I mean,
it didn't hurt. I don't know whether it bolstered me up to the next level, but it certainly didn't hurt to have hundreds of thousands of people watching me.
Exactly. I mean, I think Michael Landon was on that episode with you.
Oh yeah, he was on one of them. I was on several.
Yeah, so I think he was on the one in '74. I'm referring to that one. And now, is there a favorite show that you actually enjoyed? That you would love to have done many more episodes, or is there a series or a movie that you really enjoyed that you wish that there could be a whole bunch of series that you would play that part or a role in that show?
Well, I think that I had a lot of favorites. I loved Buffalo Bill with Dabney Coleman, and I loved 6 Feet Under. That was great for me because the actors were all phenomenal. It really depends a great deal on who's working with you. If you have a good actor across the way, it makes life a lot easier. And things really roll along. I just did a show in New Orleans called Leverage, which was on TNT for 5 years, and with Timothy Hutton.
Oh yes,
and I had a blast in that show. I'd love to be on that show.
Now I remember you on that show. Now I recalled you now on that.
No, I've never been on that show. This was the first time. Leverage was the first time.
Yeah, Leverage. How many episodes have you done on that?
1.
Oh, just one?
I just shot it.
Oh, okay. No, then I thought they ended that series.
No, they brought it back.
Oh, okay. They brought it back. Okay, so I'm thinking of the previous series. So they brought it back. So it's not yet. I didn't get the notice there's new episodes yet. So you just shot it. So then it would probably be out by sometime next year, where the show.
Yeah, probably. It's going to be on Amazon now. It was on TNT. And then I'm going to go back and play Scott Bakula's mother in January on that NCIS New Orleans.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So you have several series coming up. The the Leverage, the one with Scott Bakula. Any other programs that you're actually going to be?
Not yet.
Not yet. Just those two right now. Now,
That's pretty good.
Now, is it, you must run everything through an agent. Well, how important is to have, let's say, an agent managing your career and making sure that
you have to have that, because now you no longer go in to meet the casting person. Now it's all done via self-tape video. So you don't even get an opportunity to show them your real personality. It's very, very hard right now to be in this business.
I wonder, that is, I would think it would be easier where you can just get all this stuff and they go through things. But I guess if you don't have that face to face with someone representing the look, the idea, the character they're trying to play, will they fit into that role? I guess there is that kind of importance to have people that are actually in front of you to see that face to face.
Because they can direct you. They know what the director wants. They're the casting people. So they get to they get a vibe from you as well. I mean, because people want to be on the set with people who are fun and, good at what they do, but also they want to be with people that they feel will fit in.
Now, you have a program, you're part of the Coach the World program, and you give people access to one-on-one meetings with you. Why are you doing this? What kind of formula are you implementing on Coach the World for people to connect with you and build rapport with you? What do you teach them?
Well, I can teach them any number of things. I think that one of the most important things that I wanted to have growing up was a mentor, and I never had that. Oh, excuse me, 1 second. Anyway, Alan Arkin wrote a book years ago about a mentor that he had, and it was just the most wonderful book. I kept it with me for years, like 35 years. But the reason that I resonated to Coach the World, and there are a lot of things out there like Cameo and Starsona and blah, 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 that you can, fans can come in and buy you for to wish people happy birthday or happy anniversary. I thought, what a wonderful opportunity to Coach the World to enable fans to have a face-to-face with you and really talk about things. It's almost kind of like sitting and talking with a therapist, which is something that I could be, because God knows.
Well, I mean,
I've had so many experiences in life, and I've met so many people, and I am just filled with knowledge about things. And so, plus I love Jess, who runs the company, and she is such a good person. And I thought to myself, what a fabulous opportunity. I can even talk to people in Europe, and they can get to meet me one-on-one, because, for a while I did some of those fan things where you could come and get a picture signed and spend 2 minutes with me, because the next person had to come in. This way people can spend 15 minutes, a half an hour if they want to. And we can really have a conversation. Oh my God, if I had this as I was younger and wanting to talk to stars, I would die and go to heaven. I mean, I really would. I think it's an amazing opportunity to find out what the person's like that you've been looking at on the screen for years. So we just have to get in there and make this company happen, because it's a brilliant idea.
Exactly. I mean, we are on the platform just the way you're seeing. For those that are watching this in another platform, this is how the platform works. You are talking to the person just like I am right now, and that's how the Coach the World platform operates, where you get to connect with whoever is selling you the package, and that package gives you full one-on-one, face-to-face, just like if you're in a coffee shop, but you're obviously in two different parts of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, and let's see. Do you have, let's say, like a favorite actor that you've worked with that you now, spend time with them? Do you spend time with any of the people that you've worked with over the years? Parties, get-togethers, family reunions? I don't know. Is the Hollywood personality those who are actors? Because I have noticed that many of the actors really don't know each other unless they played a role with one another in some kind of a movie.
Well, that's generally the case. I mean, usually you don't meet people before the role, but afterwards, sometimes you stay friends. And I have, but sometimes it's hard. Sometimes they live out by the ocean. You're here. Our lives are very consumed with the busyness, the daily business of things, and it's always nice. I do know one thing, that if I've worked with someone, if it's been 10 years since I've seen them and we work together again, it's like yesterday. We just immediately go right back to it, and it's brilliant. It's really great.
Now, when it comes to you're doing the Coach the World, obviously, but do you make other appearances, functions, like travel to where something is happening, where you are part of some kind of an event? Is that something else do you do, or you're just strictly the actress?
No, what I used to do, we don't do it anymore, is I always went to the red carpets. And as I mentioned, I'm on Cameo. People, can ask me to say hello, or,
Nope.
wish a happy birthday to their fish or something like that,
So you've been to one of the red carpet. Have you been one of, obviously you received the Golden Globe. Well, what was the Golden Globe for? What role did you play that you became a Golden Globe winner?
That was for Buffalo Bill, and I think that was the early 80s. And that was a show that talked about abortion.
So you won the Golden Globe. Now, going to these parties, we all see them, from my perspective, never been to a Golden Globe. What's that like from the perspective of being part of, 400 or 500 celebrities, maybe more, that attend these things and the parties that go on and stuff like that? Give us a rough cut of what is that like from the person who is able to attend as someone in the business.
Well, it's a big social event. And I mean, it's the same like the Emmys. Like I was nominated several times for Emmys. And then, as I told you before, I won 2 Canadian Emmys. They have it set up so that you're at a table and usually the people at the table you've worked with. So it's fun. I mean, it's really fun and it's very nervous making, but in between when the camera's not on you, people are up from the table and socializing and mingling and, trying to get their next job.
So it is basically a kind of the opportunity to be within the other actors and directors and
yes, it's a chance to be seen and to talk about what the latest thing you've done, and blah, blah, blah. And, what are you doing? And I'd love to work in your show, and, all that.
So when they go to commercial break, everybody just gets up and starts to chatter and build relationships, and then they give you a 2-minute warning or something. It's like you got to get back to your seats, because it always looks like it's a one segment production where just.
I know it does look like that, but that's because they have fillers. People in the background that they hire that come in and fill the seats.
So they come in. So if you have to leave or go up or whatever, they always make the place look 100% full.
I think at one point, one actress was, her name was called, she won the Emmy, and she was in the restroom. And she came out, and there was toilet paper on the bottom.
Okay, we blanked out for a moment there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
yes,
so
there was an actress whose name was called. She was in the restroom, and she was running to catch up, and there was a long trail of toilet paper that was stuck on her shoe.
We don't need to mention the actress, right?
I'm not going to.
Okay, good. But is it anyone we know?
You might.
And now, so you're in these parties. Have you ever been able to connect with anyone in those parties that actually resulted to a role in a future movie from any of those events that you would know of? Like,
no, I don't know of anything where we sat at the table and made a deal. Here's how it used to go years ago. And women, never really were part of this. Now women are huge in the business. But in the day, deals were made on the tennis court or on the golf, greens. That's how deals were made. And they were. Now that there are women producers, women directors, there's more of that done, but it still is who you know, who you hang with,
So that explains why guys go to the spas now, because to meet the directors that are women who are at the spa. Would that work?
I don't think there are a lot of co-spas going on.
No, I'm just saying.
I mean, if they're out of town and it's a men's side, women's side, but I don't think there's a lot of.
No, there's no coincidence.
And having massages together, I don't think it works that way.
I'm just curious if So with all the women, with all the women directing and taking on a lot of the Hollywood style roles, where if they're not on the tennis court like they used to be, where would they be now as far as where do the women directors and actors and stuff like that actually get together?
Well, there's a lot of theater. There's a lot of comedy groups. I mean, over the years, the comedians became the stars of television shows. So, the Laugh Factories, the Comedy Store, the big comedic venues here were huge. A lot of agents, managers went to those and plucked their new clients.
Now, when it comes to like beauty advice for fans that want to get into the business, should they overdo, or how should they approach their their demo reel? Should they get into full making themselves look like someone else, or should they be as natural as possible so the directors can actually see them as natural as possible so they can be fit into a role? What do you have?
Well, I think that varies. It really depends on what the role is. It used to be you had 8x10s. You had a very glamorous one. You had a very natural one. That's not the case so much anymore. I have a disc a video that I send out that incorporates a lot of my shows. But nowadays, it's pretty much audition or not. And in terms of you're asking me about how do you get an agent or a manager, oh my God, I can't even imagine today how you do it. I can't imagine. But I know that there are young people out there getting them. And maybe it almost goes back to the way I did it. When I first came to LA, I was walking around to agents, and this is when I was modeling. I would hand the secretary an 8x10, and I knew the minute I turned my back, they were going to do this and throw it in the trash because I didn't have any experience. So it goes back to, once again, who you know, who you hang with. Before COVID, everyone was going out. The young people were going out to parties. They were going to clubs. They were going to bars. I mean, that was never my thing. I had children. I couldn't afford leaving my kids at home and being out half the night, which is what a lot of people have the opportunity to do now. So, but now that it's COVID, we'll have to find a new way to do that.
Well, I mean, a friend of mine just called me earlier to talk about something that he's doing something for the Super Bowl that's happening here in the Tampa area. And he told me that he did a virtual interview with the person that is on the hiring side of the Super Bowl and managing, how they manage the celebrities that come, all of the stuff that happens on a Super Bowl. And it was all done on his phone while he was doing his normal work activities. And it was done instantly, where face-to-face interview, and that was it. 1, 2, 3. No need for meetings, appointments, scheduling. Click, direct access, just like we're doing here. You click, makes the call, and now you're face-to-face with the person you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So that is definitely here. COVID has made virtual a standard now.
Yes, it has.
Now, where were you born? Where are you from? Where were you born?
I was born in New Jersey.
Oh, where about in Jersey?
Near Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill. I don't remember. So you're a Jersey girl, basically.
I am a Jersey girl.
Jersey girl. And is there anything that, like...
So is Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah. Actually, he's got something happening right now with Apple TV, I believe. I just saw some commercial with him doing something. I don't know what it is, because they didn't go into it. But he's doing something on Apple TV. So that's, something. Are you doing anything for... Actually, you did say you're doing something with, I think it was Netflix. Was it Netflix?
I'm doing the show Leverage.
Sorry, Amazon.
It's for Amazon, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They all kind of blend in together. If it's on my laptop, I had gotten rid of my cable system a long time ago, so everything that I have is Amazon, Netflix, Hulu. So I access all of my television style programming all digitally from any format, whether it's a laptop, a tablet, PC. I can't be stuck waiting for a specific time to watch anything. Do you do that? Do you watch a lot of TV to watch other actors and actresses as part of your plan? So if you were called on to do a screening for a specific show, do you do homework for that show?
Of course I do. Of course I do. We'll watch the show, yeah.
So you'll watch the show. Is there a specific pattern that you have for any episode that you do, or a process of learn? What do you try to learn about the show, the director? Is there a pattern that you have?
Well, first of all, I look up everything that the director has done, and I look up everything that the actors have done. and I watch their work. I want to be knowledgeable. I want to see, and I want to be respectful as well because it's not easy, and generally the case if you show up on the set, the first thing you know, you have huge scenes, and like this last Leverage that I just played, I had, here was my part. I played a British lesbian grifter with dementia.
Boy, that's a lot of problems there.
That's a lot of layers. And so I had to work with a coach to get the British accent just right. The grifter thing was easy. It seems like every time I go to Louisiana, I play someone that's got some form of Alzheimer's. And so that's easy. But it's, getting in with new people for the first time, and suddenly you have a lot of scenes thrown at you and you're having to memorize all these things and you want to get the rhythm of the show. It's not easy being an actor, I'll tell you. It looks wonderful because by the time you see it, it's all cut together. There's music, there's blah, 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 blah. But, we worked on that show. There was not a day that we didn't do 14 hours.
So does the show itself hire, like, let's say the British linguist to help you with your accent and stuff like that? So they provide the people
they have to do that. They have to. They can't expect me to pay for that when they're asking me to play a character. Now, if I were just doing a video, I would pay to hire someone to teach me to do the accent.
So what you're saying is, on some of these sets throughout the years, whenever you had a specific role that required extra training, they usually provide you with a coach or someone that will help guide you through the fine tuning of whether it's an accent or whether it's
got to do with that, the technicalities of a role. But if I really want to be good in a part, I would hire separately an acting coach and pay for that myself. That would be my responsibility.
So you continue to hire acting coaches depending on the type of roles, unless it's something that you already fit into the role.
For the most part, I don't have an acting coach. I leave it to Beaver.
I'm just trying to get for those, most of the time, including myself, it's hard for people to understand what an actor or an actress has to do when they're on a set or on a movie. That there are lots of things that you really have to do your homework in every aspect of the show. You got to know the director, learn the roles, learn the show, learn the script, because, if you're not good at it, you may not stay,
if you're not good at it, you're going to be replaced on the first day. You will be replaced. You have to be a professional. You've got to come prepared. You have to know your lines. Hopefully you're good, and, you can go on and do a wonderful performance so they go, thank God we hired her.
Now, when it comes to knowing your lines, there's a lot of lines on these shows for a lot of these actors, lots of scenes. Do they have like line cards or anything like that for when there's lots of different scenes, or they just do the scenes so separately that you could remember small lines? How does that work when it comes to these roles?
You have to know your lines. Because
you have to really know the script before you get there. There isn't any cue cards that show up.
Well, no, there aren't. I mean, unless you're sitting down and you can't remember your lines, then they may have to pull in a cue card. But Marlon Brando never learned his lines. He always had cue cards.
So if you're a super celebrity, they'll let you get away with cue carding. But anybody else showing up on the set the first day, if you need cue cards, that's your last set.
Probably, I would say yes.
Now, is there, with all the years doing all these roles and participating in many of these activities, whether you were at the Tonight Show, Golden Globes, and other places. What recommendations do you have as far as, I mean, you are now a coach with Coach the World. What areas can people say, you know what, I definitely need to connect with Joanna and be coached by her through the platform of Coach the World, because this is very important to know and to be educated in the area. Or
acting isn't just as simple as knowing your lines and being professional in that sense. It's there's much more of a psychological part that comes along with this, and there's set protocol. There is set behavior. There's behavior in the makeup trailer. There is behavior after they call wrap. At the end of the day, these are all things that from years of experience that I have garnered and understand about the world of acting. I mean, because the world of acting today is one big gossip machine. And you see this?
Yes.
People use it. And they can Twitter about you. They can social media about you. This is so easy to reach so many people. Someone doesn't like you, they can say something. So there are, and I'm not going to call them tricks because they're not. There's just behaviors and there's just a psychology. It's like when you're on the set, they have an area called the video area where the directors and the writer and the producer sit. It's separate from the actors. You're wearing a mic in your clothing. God forbid if you forget that mic is on and you're telling somebody something that really nobody else should hear. They're just little things, but it's so much more than that. It's when you rehearse, there are just certain things that are really good to know when you come on the set.
So when you're on this, let's say when you're on a set, so you're all prepped, you're ready. Do you have like a separate area? You're in your trailer, whatever it is, and then before your scene is ready, they give you, how much time do they give you to to let you know that, hey, your scene is coming up, get ready to be inside the space where the scene is going to take place? What's that like when it comes to doing some of these sets?
Well, you are given a 10-minute or a 5-minute or 15-minute warning. You're already made up when you get to. They do a rehearsal or 2 or 3 or whatever they need, and then they call finals. Then the makeup and hair come running in, make sure everything is all set, everything's good, your lipstick's on and so on. And then everyone takes their places, and then he calls action.
And you do your scene, and then if it's good, do you know if it's good, they're gonna take that scene and keep it, and that's your last scene? Do you leave, or do you wait around for or something else where you may have to be called back to redo something?
Oh, you wait.
So it's a waiting game. So a lot of waiting takes place between scenes.
No, it's not a lot of waiting, and you pretty much know, but there are 3 sets of shots that take place. There's the master, there's a 3/4, there's an over the shoulder, there's a close-up. And that's 4. You're just there. However many shots the director wants to do, you're there. I mean, these are, details. But if anybody wants to know details, I can tell you on Coach the World.
Yes. Coach the World. You get details there, right? Now, what do you do on your free time? I mean, you're an actress, so you do a lot of stuff. What do you normally do when you're not in acting mode?
Uh, I, if anyone wants to see, they can go on officialjoannacassidy.com, which is my website. I love to do photographs. I had a landscape business for a while. Love to do my own gardens. Love my animals. I see my friends. I get in my car and drive and go away for a few days.
What kind of traveling do you do when you go away? Do you travel outside the country, in country?
No, not necessarily at all. No, I mean, I can do it. The United States has amazing places to go to.
Absolutely.
Downtown, I can do something downtown that nobody's ever done. I mean, there are things that I still haven't done in LA that are just waiting for me to jump on board.
So what does Joanna Cassidy, what's on the bucket list, at the top of your bucket list right now, that you think that is something you really would like to do, but it requires something? What would that bucket be? Or the top three, let's say. Well, we can move on from that one. We'll let that simmer a little bit. And
oh, no, wait a second.
Okay.
Let me just get to that. I love to redo houses. I'd like to find another house in another place. I don't know where, and buy it and fix it up. That's one of the top things. I mean, I'm not at my last home yet, and yet I love this home. I'd like to do that. I'd like to fall in love again. I would like to do that. I would like to see my children happy and content. Not that they're not, but I mean, that's a huge thing for me is knowing that my children are feel complete with their life. Other than that, I've done major traveling. I may want to buy a home in one of those dollar homes in Italy or something.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. How many kids do you have, and are they grown up? Are they fully grown up as far as like?
They're grown. I have a couple kids.
Now, are they in the acting business? Are they in the surrounding?
No.
So nothing related to acting.
No, not really.
So that never really interests them what you do. Do they participate in any of the functions with other actors? Oh, okay. So they.
If I go to a red carpet or something, they're always with me.
And all right, I think outside actually, the last question would be: you also were one of the actresses on Star Trek. You were playing T'Pel's mom in the Star Trek Enterprise series. How'd you end up in that role?
I played Tallee. Tallee was my character's name in that. I don't know how that came about. I kind of do. I think the director was a huge fan of Blade Runner, and I think that he wanted to work with me. And again, that was Scott Bakula.
Yeah, that's right. Scott Bakula he was the captain on the Enterprise.
He's the captain, and I mean, I love Scott. He is an actor's actor. He lives to be on a set. That's his whole life, and he's great at it, and he has a wonderful personality for that. He's fantastic. He's just fantastic. Oh, you know what else is on my bucket list?
Go ahead.
I want to collect an Oscar.
An Oscar? Well, you have a whole stack of stuff here. I don't see why.
Back there, I want something new and unique and fabulous, and and I wouldn't mind doing a one-woman show.
What would that be? A one-woman show?
I'd have to sit down and write it. I think it would be all over the place. I think it would just tell the life of Joanna that's just been like a roller coaster, just like suddenly being slammed in the middle of, a set with fabulous actors, and you're going, oh my God, what do I do next? What do I do?
It is something. I would buy the book of, a lot of the questions I've asked you is based on my wanting to learn more about what is this business about, how it functions, how it flows, how the people connect, how they build relationships. If you are in Hollywood, where are the proper places to golf, to be? Where are the directors, the people that make decisions? Because if you're around them, the opportunities can be there. Is that, you mentioned early on that you are thinking of writing a book. Have you began any part of that process?
Oh yeah, I have.
Oh, okay. Well, what would without giving us too many details, what's the general theme of the book?
I haven't decided yet where I'm going with it, because I think books can either be very businessy books, or they can be funny books, or they can be picture books. Most memoirs or autobiographies that I read, the first thing I do is go to the pictures. And usually the pictures are terrible. They're terrible. They're little tiny squares of awful photographs taken with one of those little click cameras,
Yes.
And they're not very good. And I'm so curious to see the people involved in someone's life. I want to see them. So as I'm reading the pages, my God, oh yeah, that's what they look like, and I go there. So I haven't decided. I have a lot of words, but I haven't decided if it's going to be a picture book or a book about my life.
I think with all of the content and all of the people that you've worked with, just from what I can see in the stack of papers is, I printed it, and it's like the printer just kept shooting out paper. I'm like, how much stuff is in here? It was just your rolls alone was 10 pages of printed paper of just roll after roll after roll after roll. And I think that there's definitely something there that we as the audience want more of. You're already on a coaching platform, so people are already wanting to be face to face with you. And the next step would be something that they can hold, that they can put on their bookshelf, and to say, yes, I actually spent time with her, and I also have the book.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Joanna Cassidy, is there anything else that I missed that I should have asked you that we can?
No, I think you've covered it. I think you've covered it.
I try to do as much homework as I could, so this way I'm not asking the same old questions like, what is your favorite ice cream, or your favorite color, or your favorite food? What's your favorite food?
Probably it verges between a salad or pasta, or maybe both.
Hey, pasta salad. There you go.
There.
Well, thank you again. For those that are watching, you're watching LeaderCast. I'm Anthony Kovic for Coach the World. You'll see the label there, Coach the World. Just search Joanna Cassidy, and you will find her profile that you can connect and build that one-on-one relationship and learn the details of what you can be learning from, a success.
And I think if they go on officialjoannacassidy.com, you can pick out some ideas from my website as well. You can decide what you want to talk about.
Absolutely. So that link will be there, and you'll be able to learn everything you want in order to make a better decision and really connect with. This is
Oh, there's one of the. They should go on my Instagram.
Instagram.
I do some very funny stuff on my Instagram. I have my character that I'm doing that they can find me.
So Instagram, you got a Facebook page as well, YouTube channel. So you got all of the social media platforms.
Yeah, I do all that. Yes.
Well, that is pretty awesome. Most people don't spend the time doing this kind of stuff and building relationships with not only, because do you find that any of these platforms are connecting you with opportunities in the business?
Well, they could. I think you have to build them to a certain level. They can. They can do that.
Well, excellent.
We need our manager, we need our agent, and nowadays we need social media. But I'm lucky. I have a name, I have a reputation, and I have experience. So I'm very fortunate. But these, what do they call them? These, not relevant. They're
profile.
The what?
Their profile?
No, the
resume?
No, when kids have these big profiles on social media, they're called something. Influencers.
Okay, so
influencers. I mean, trust me, they're getting things from that.
Well, absolutely. Now, do you consider yourself an influencer in this space?
No, not yet.
Not yet. So
I figure that anybody with over 100,000 followers is an influencer, but I'm not there. That's like you really have. That's a job. That's a job.
So you're building up to being a influencer in some of these spaces, and as this continues on, the platform on Coach the World is an influencer because it's a direct influence to people clicking and wanting to meet with you.
Absolutely.
Joanna Cassidy, actress and a Golden Globe winner with more than 125 roles in TV, movies, etc. And that's the end of this program. I'm Anthony Kovic with LeaderCast.
Thank you.